Hi, this is Jeff Richards, Columbus, Ohio. You're listening to Barbecue Central.
Start the game! Let's go!
We'll do it live. Okay. Well, do it live! I'll write it and we'll do it live!
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike your match, and... Oh, should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
Good evening and welcome to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show, a show that talks about all things that are important to the world of live fire cooking and grilling, the whole industry for crying out loud. Originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city of Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I am your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday. If you've been thinking to yourself since last Tuesday, man, next Tuesday, which is this Tuesday, I'm going to call in or I'm going to email the show. Here's how you do it.
You can get in touch with the show by calling 216-220-0966. Email Greg at the BBQCentralShow.com. On the Twitter and Instagrams at BBQ Central Show.
Everything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening coming up in about 12 minutes from now. The second Tuesday of the month is here. It is falling upon us, and we have to be able to muscle through it, get you some St. Patty's Day recipes, talk about pastrami, talk about corned beef. It's kind of a yearly visit at this point of the year. There's some things that you've come to find, as I was talking with John Solberg a little earlier about this show. There are definitive points where if you've never listened to the show, it's all going to be new, depending on when you listen to the show this year. But then if you're a longtime fan of the show, you know there's going to be certain food holidays and or holidays in general where we're going to be refreshing ourselves on some of the classics. We'll also be talking about twists and new techniques, but standbys are absolutely at the forefront here, especially this evening. We are perhaps a week or two away from St. Patrick's Day. I don't know really anything about it. I don't like to follow it. I'm not a big fan of St. Patrick's Day. I don't understand why there's so much hubbub about it other than getting completely shit-faced, if that's your deal. But whatever you like, I don't particularly understand it. But just because I don't find all of the goings-on to be of value doesn't mean that you don't. So I will continue to structure the show for the majority of you and not the minority of us, especially when it comes to St. Patrick's Day. So the second Tuesday of the month guest, without any introduction, is Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. He is a Barbecue Central Show guest, Hall of Famer. He was a short list on the final 9 last year, but didn't make it over the hump into the Hall of Fame for class of 2019. However, complete side note that I didn't think I would mention, 2020 nominations for the Barbecue Hall of Fame are open. If you go to barbecuehalloffame.com or something along these lines, you can fill out the nomination form. I would say, regardless of who you're going to nominate, if you're going to take the time, make sure you're filling it out properly. Don't just give 2 or 3 word answers. Assume this: the person that you are nominating isn't necessarily known by everybody on the nominating committee. And then after that, because once you get nominated, you're in for 5 years or 3 years or whatever it was. I'll get a better handle on that as the weeks get closer. But once you're nominated in, your name stays in a large pool. And then if you make it to a final 9, then you're in a separate pool. And then if you don't get picked, you go all the way back to the original holding tank. So, like, for instance, I know I've been nominated like every year. I've never made it to the second cut. Also, never made it into the final cut of getting into the Barbecue Hall of Fame. So, many people have gotten out, made the 9, but then gotten dumped back in it with me. But you have to continue to nominate because at some point in time, the name falls off if you don't get brought up continuously. So, whoever you're going to nominate, if you're going to nominate, get through the explanations on the nomination form and explain yourself as if perhaps nobody has ever heard of this person and really give a detailed account about why you think they should be in the Barbecue Hall of Fame. So, my suggestion to you, but I think they take them until April, end of April. Get to the website and check it out. So, Meathead in the first hour as usual. Second hour, I will be joined by a guest who has been on maybe 3 or 4 times in total. I'm going to share a fun fact with him when he comes on around 10:14. I don't want to bust it right now. But I fell in love with my guest in the second hour when I saw him on television when he was a contestant on Hell's Kitchen, which after 2 or 3 seasons I grew weary of and stopped watching altogether. But when I was watching it, I was a huge fan, mostly because Gordon Ramsay was just being incredibly, he was letting people have it, let's say. Not only is he a master with the knife, but with the tongue as well, cutting people up and down. The likes few have ever seen on cable television or broadcast television, any television for that matter. I would love to have Gordon Ramsay on the show. Maybe someday. We're getting bigger and bigger every day. But he is the owner of the smoke shop. He was the founder for a restaurant that's currently no longer open, Tremont 647. He has written a number of books with his co-pitmaster or barbecue competition teammate, legend Chris Hart from IQ. Andy Husbands will rejoin the show. AndyHusbands.com is website. So very excited to get caught up with Andy in the second hour. There you have it. Your phone calls and emails, should you feel free to mix in, 216-220-0966, Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. Now, get ready for something huge during the 4th Tuesday of this month, during the second hour, which is the embedded correspondence. We're bringing you something the likes you have never seen or heard on this show before. In a word, idle. In more than one word, Barbecue Central American Idol. That's right. The newest take on stupid singing shows will invade the Barbecue Central show during the embedded correspondence segment, and it is going to be a weeks-long competition. So in 2 weeks, there is going to be myself and Doug Scheiding and John Solberg and Reiser all laying down the first 2 verses and subsequently choruses of the monster late 70s hit Jailbreak by Thin Lizzy. Everybody loves that. We're all going to be singing it. And then we will leave it up to America to vote. Once the votes are tabulated, the top 3 will move on to the following week. The least amount of votes gotten will summarily be kicked off. And then we will go from the second week to the third week. Then we will come to a final 2. There perhaps will be a duet done with the final 2 before, during the final show, there will actually be a live singing going on, a live singing competition where a winner will be picked by the end of show. So it's going to be 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever it's going to be. It's going to be great. It's going to be the Barbecue Central Show American Idol edition. And it will happen the 4th Tuesday in the second hour, and we start this month here in March. So mark it on your calendars. It's going to be great. A lot of us are really good singers, so it's going to be really close, I would imagine, in the voting. Now, bit of show news. The Tennessee embedded correspondent, Steve Ray, has tendered his resignation from the show in any and all forms going forward at this point. I don't really have a lot of information to tell you why that is, because, quite simply, he didn't offer much of an explanation other than it was time for him to move on. And he had a few other projects that he wanted to dedicate more time to. So if you are a fan of Steve's, and certainly no bigger fan of Steve's than me, you will certainly miss him during the embedded correspondent segment going forward and some other segments that we used to do on a fairly recurring basis. And to that end, I do want to say thank you to Steve specifically. He's been a very integral part and important part of this show for many, many years. It's been way more behind the scenes than on air. But this is how it goes with all the ECs. Certainly you hear them on the show once per month. But the bigger interaction is the daily sharing of info and news and rumors and lots of, in general, ball busting. And Steve has been an incredibly valued teammate because of his cooking experience, his real-world experience, his unique ability to stand his ground when arguing opinions on the show. And trust me, it's not easy to do when the red light is on. Everybody thinks it's easy to do, but it's not. And Steve excelled at it, and in doing so helped us bring the show to a new level. So I just wanted to give a mention to Steve. We wish him good luck in whatever he's doing. If I get more information that I'm able to pass along to you, certainly would do that. But we'll be missing Steve here in a couple weeks. Certainly was ready to hear Steve lay down Thin Lizzy. So that's the latest and the greatest. This is the show. This is what happens. We continue to press ahead. And remember, not one person makes or breaks this show except me. If I leave, the show's over.
How dare you?
That's right. Everybody else, we'll muddle through it together. We'll muddle through it together. All right, before we get to Meathead, I want to talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills. 2 lines to choose from, a choice line, a prime line. The prime line, newer, right? That one's a little bit more robust on the build. You got the peek-in windows on the cooking chamber, on the pellet hopper. I have one sitting in the garage that I haven't put together yet, but I'm gonna pretty soon. Volleyball season coming to a close here. In the first national round for young Marley. But I'll get that thing together and we'll see how it cooks. 2 internal beat probes. Really easy user interface. You can make temperature adjustments on the cooker right from the app if you want to do that. Monitor internal temperatures of the meat if you want to do that, ×2. You can also choose the choice line if you want to save a couple bucks. Why not? You don't get the peek-in window on the cooking chamber, on the pellet hopper. You don't get Wi-Fi, but maybe you don't need Wi-Fi. Maybe you're like me. Say, hey, I don't need to be tech geek marron on this. I just want a solid cooker. I don't need all the tech. Fine. Choice line is something you want to take a look at. Jim Bowie, Daniel Boone, the ones that go into the backyards or perhaps mounted on trailers. Davy Crockett is the one that takes with you. The Prime line and the Davy Crockett all have 12-volt inverter technology. So if you don't have access to a traditional power outlet, you can plug them all in to the adapter in your car or the outlet in your car. And they come with battery clamps too. GreenMountainGrills.com. Find a dealer near you and check them out. Put your hands on it. All the dealers are well-trained. They'll get you educated. That way, when you get home, no buyer's remorse, just cooking and enjoyment, succulent smoked wood from pellets. Pellet cookers continuing to dominate here in 2020. We're back with Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. But in the meantime, GreenMountainGrills.com. That's GreenMountainGrills.com. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Broadcasting live from the Barbecue Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
And this portion of the show being brought to you by Butcher's Barbecue, makers of award-winning injections, marinades, rubs, seasonings, barbecue sauces, grilling oils, all of Butcher Barbecue products tested on the competition circuit and winning. Also in backyards, winning there as well. Be the pitmaster of your neighborhood and visit butcherbbq.com to stock up right now. That's butcherbbq.com, and always trust your butcher. All right, it is the second Tuesday of the month, and you know what that means? The creator of the most heavily trafficked barbecue and grilling website ever on the face of the earth. It is, of course, Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. Hey, Meathead.
Hello, Greg, and hello, Centralites.
How's the barbecue rock star from the rock and roll?
We are
city?
feeling really good tonight. We've had a couple great days of very spring, perhaps even more than spring-like weather. We're coming back to a little bit of reality here today, tomorrow, of course. But, gee, Thursday, it's going to be 67 degrees here in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city. I can't believe it.
Unbelievable. Yeah, we've got crocuses and some of the daffodils popping up already. You want to yell at them, go back, go back.
Yeah, it's coming up very quickly. So speaking of things that are coming up quickly, is St. Patrick's Day. Of course, we're going to be talking a little bit about corned beef and pastrami and methods. We have some Facebook questions as well in that regard. So we'll get into that here in a second. But let me ask you something, Meat. I don't know if you keep up on the news, but there's this little thing called coronavirus going around. It's got, man, I was trying to think of what has generated more negative heat on the internet. Has it been smoke fire from Weber, or is it this coronavirus? Perhaps they were going neck and neck. But in all seriousness, what do you know about...
Maybe you're propagating an interesting theory here. I've heard all manner of theories about smoke fire. Maybe smoke fire is infected with coronavirus.
This could be it. Who knew? Who knew it was going to take a health pandemic to upstage the smoke fire negativity, if you can believe that. So,
well, we all have to be concerned. Clearly, we all have to pay attention to what the health experts say.
What does your wife say about it?
Yeah, for your listeners who don't know, my wife just retired as a food safety expert from the FDA. She's on top of pretty much in tune with what everybody says out there. It is different than the flu. It is more dangerous than the flu, but it is similar in some regards. And I don't know that I am entitled to talk any more about it other than two theories.
Oh, theories.
Number one,
great. I love theories. Go ahead.
Well, people are a little afraid to go out. A lot of conventions have been canceled. Chicago has lost conventions that totaled well over 100,000 visitors.
Yep.
That's going to affect hotels, restaurants, cabs, Ubers.
Presidential hopefuls were going to be speaking in Cleveland tonight. Biden and Sanders, both of them canceled.
Yeah. So that's going to affect a lot of things. But it might affect our favorite hobby. If people are staying home and they're not going to restaurants, they might be cooking more. And we just had daylight savings time. I sat down to dinner tonight and it was still daylight out, which means that's primo grilling time. Weather is creeping up into the 50s and 60s here in the frozen north. So maybe this will be good for grills, grilling, barbecue, outdoor cooking, and all those fun things that we love as people take staycations.
All right, now let me ask you this, because this is the only thing that could potentially, from a business standpoint, affect AmazingRibs.com. You have a meetup coming in Memphis. Has there been any talk about if you need to put it off or cancel at this point? I think, so we have a trip. This is completely unrelated, but we have a trip that we had booked many weeks ago prior to all this popping up to go to Daytona. Now, this is a trip that we had to take because our original trip to Daytona to watch my oldest play volleyball was canceled because of the hurricane that happened in September. So we couldn't go at that point because of the hurricane. Now we have coronavirus coming up. We're standing to lose 50% of our Airbnb. They won't give us a full refund if we wanted to. Now we're trying to debate if we should go. So there is business that is going to be affected all around. We're seeing it all of the big cities. But what about you? Is this something you were talking about, and how could you be impacted?
Yeah, we're right on top of it, as you can imagine. For listeners who are not familiar, AmazingRibs.com is planning an event that starts July 31st, runs for 3 days. It's in Memphis, and it's a part barbecue lovers. There's never been a big convention for barbecue lovers. There's little festivals, there's competitions, there's a trade, National Barbecue Association has a conference, but we're planning the first conference for backyard barbecue lovers in Memphis with seminars and visits to barbecue joints and all kinds of fun stuff. And so we're looking ahead. There are some people who are knowledgeable who think that perhaps if it is at all like the flu, it'll die off as the warm weather comes up. There are others who are looking at China, where it seems to be tapering off. Perhaps not, fewer people are susceptible than we feared. Who knows?
Who knows?
We're looking July 31st. We haven't even reached out to the hotel. We're staying at the Peabody, one of the grand hotels. They got their hands full with everybody else who's running events this week and next week and the week after. I'm not even bothering them with any questions. We're going to ride it out a little while longer. We have slowed down on promotion and advertising because we just don't want to spend money chasing people to come when we don't think they're going to be booking vacations very often. But we've only had out of 300 people who've booked, 2 people cancel. So
Good retention.
Yeah, we'll see. Fingers crossed. But the fingers are crossed more for the fact that we just don't like the idea of fellow citizens dying. And, I'm just hopeful that, the precautions we're taking and the efforts that are being made for vaccines will mitigate some of the problems, and maybe the weather will as well.
All right, we'll see what's going on. We're talking with Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. Let's quickly transition over to the second part of the corona stuff that we were talking about, which is smoke fire. That's certainly been a hot topic. We've talked about it. It's been in, I guess, a news cycle now for going on the better part of the month. I had Kevin Coleman on last week, and we talked 45, 50 minutes that he gave us. And, I asked all the important questions. It's certainly up to the listener to decide whether he was brutally honest or forthcoming, or if he was towing the company line. To me, if you're working for Weber, it's going to be hard not to paint more of a rosy picture, whether you personally feel that way or not. So it wasn't necessarily surprising to me, but he certainly didn't necessarily flatly deny to answer anything. He did answer everything that I asked him. So as a trusted source for review, we know Max Good is the only guy out there testing cookers. Where are you at in the testing process, and when can we expect a full-on review?
Max is on his way tomorrow to New Orleans for the Hearth Patio Barbecue Association conference. It has not been canceled.
Well, Weber's not going to there, by the way.
I did not know that, but I am not surprised. I've told Max, Clint is on his way on vacation overseas, and others. I've told everybody on our team, if business requires travel, you are free to stay at home if you wish. Max said he's not afraid, and he wants to go. And the conference wasn't canceled. There has not been a problem with a major outbreak in New Orleans, so he's going.
Yeah.
This could get a lot worse, in which case there may be grounds for fear. I have 2 trips scheduled myself in the near future, one to Pennsylvania and one to Memphis, for Memphis in May. I'm not canceling. I'm elderly. I'm not. I'm 71. We're just gonna everybody else gonna play it by ear. But back to smoke fire. A couple of things to consider. Weber set about to solve the problems that pellet smokers struggle with. They wanted to make it easy to clean. They wanted to make it so that it could grill a steak and get a really good dark mahogany sear on all sides, not just grill marks. They wanted to make it so that it would both cook hot and fast, searing a steak, as well as low and slow. They wanted to make it really easy to operate, software driven, with cooking programs, and make it easy or easier than indoor cooking. I think we're seeing in the world of culinary a move towards programmable frying pans now, towards countertop devices like air fryers and high-speed convection ovens, all kinds of new technology. And pellet smokers are on the forefront of this new culinary technology, and they really wanted to make a device that would solve a lot of problems. And with all due respect to Kevin, whom I admire and like very much, he denied that they rushed it to market. But I think when you look at the very basic fact that when you unboxed your machine, you had to download a firmware update. Now that means that the hardware built into the machine needed to be updated, and the app that drives the hardware in the machine from your smartphone also shipped and needed update and wasn't complete. It admittedly still was missing some of its functionality. If that isn't the definition of rushing to market, I don't know what is. Now, they claim to have done extensive testing on this thing, but several early purchasers did run into problems with grease fires. They saw a lot of fly ash, which we can talk about in a minute. There were some issues with the pellets not feeding easily. You addressed a lot of these last week. You did a great job as Inquisitor last week.
Yes, I did.
And there were some other issues that were, and so, you know, it sounds like they made a valiant effort but fell short. And some of these things may be reconcilable. Like, I'm told, I haven't seen it yet, that they have come up with a solution to the pellets not sliding downhill properly.
They've made a ramp insert. They'll send you a ramp that has, I think, more of an decline or incline, I guess the way you look at it, and it will feed the pellets in more efficiently, so you don't have to go in and manually send them down their way.
Well, it sounds like an intelligent kludge, you know, a real MacGyver. Of course, what I've heard is it reduces the capacity of the pellet hopper, which they had deliberately said could hold 23 pounds.
22 pounds.
22 pounds, I'm sorry. 22 pounds, which meant you buy a 20-pound bag and dump it in. And when it gets down to 2 pounds left, you can dump another bag in so you never run out. And that's nice design. I believe this new ramp reduces that capacity, and so that neat little concept and feature may be negated. You know, this is only a factor when you're doing a 12-hour, 8-hour long cook that you just got to reach into the hopper and push the pellets. Not the end of the world, but if you set this thing up at 10 o'clock at night and don't get up till 10 o'clock the next morning or so, you might have an issue. So it's not ideal. The bigger issue was these grease fires. And that seems to be, to me, to be a design flaw. Max was able to reproduce the problem. It appears that ash in the burn pot, it's designed, the bottom of the burn pot is got slats so that the ash would fall through. What a clever idea. And almost all the other pellet smokers, I think in all the other pellet smokers, the ash remains inside the burn pot. And so eventually it builds up and it can smother the fire. And so you have to get in there. And to get in there means you got to lift out the grates. You got to lift out a big, heavy deflector plate. Maybe there's some more stuff, smaller deflector plates in there. And you got to wear gloves because it's all slimy and greasy down in there. And then you got to pull out the burn pot, which is full of ash, dump it out, and put it back in. And so, you know, and you got to do this maybe after every 8 or 10 cooks. So it's a bit of a pain.
You know, I got to tell you, Meathead, as somebody who has a pair of Green Mountain grills, a Traeger, an original Grilla, all have the big full-length deflector shields on them. None of the perforated burn pots as, you know, the Weber has. I've never once had a fire smother itself. 7, 8, 10, 12 cooks in between. I'll take everything out, take a shop vac, suck it all out, and then I'll take a handful or two of pellets and recharge the pot before, instead of just turning it on and waiting for the auger to push the pellets in to light it a little bit more efficiently. I have to tell you, I mean, there have been
You're more diligent than I.
But there's been 10 or 12 cooks. I mean, that's pretty lazy, I think, before cleaning them out.
Me. You're
but
talking to me, I'm lazy.
There hasn't been
I've had flame outs.
There hasn't been an incredible amount of grease or buildup or anything, probably because you have that full-length deflector that's going off to channel the grease into some outside bucket or catch or pan or whatever you want to call it. So I mean, there isn't a lot of grease buildup in every other cooker that I've ever had.
I get a lot of carbon buildup. I mean, that drip hits that grease pan and it burns on. I have to get out a.
But don't you foil your grease pan?
No.
Why not? What are you, a maniac?
I don't foil it. I just think it might somehow or other interfere with the heating properties.
Don't you like do you hate being clean and efficient?
No, I should foil it. But I don't. And so I have to get out a steamer every now and then and steam it clean.
No, always foil the pan. It's not doing anything for heat. So I think the I don't know. The other thing that I wanted to mention is you said that they were trying to get to a point where they were making all things for all parties. And I have to be honest, I don't understand why. When I buy a pellet cooker, never once that I think while I'm cooking it on my Traeger or my Green Mountain Grill or my Grilla or you name it, boy, I wish this thing could grill a steak. If I wanted to grill a steak, I'd fire up my gas grill or my charcoal grill and grill a steak or a burger or hot dogs. To me, the pellet cooker is really good anywhere from 180 maybe to 375. Anything over 400, fuck that. I'm going to go ahead and fire up a grill and I'll go indirect at that point. But I understand that perhaps you need more than one appliance in order to operate efficiently.
Well, I mean, that's you. I mean,
yes, but I'm right and most people are wrong, meathead.
How dare you?
Well, that's always the case. But
right.
Most people, they go down to the hardware store and they want to buy one device that does grilling and smoking. And they don't understand a lot about the differences between direct heat and indirect heat, convection flow, infrared, conduction, and so on. And they want a simple device. And the beauty of the pellet smokers is they're digital. You push a button just like you do indoors.
Sure, very easy, yes.
It works. And so they want to be able to cook a steak on it. And they want to be able to do burgers, and they want to do everything on it. And most pellet cookers don't. And I get a lot of people writing me saying, well, mine does a great job on steaks. One of the problems we have here is what many people's definition of a great sear is and what my definition of a great sear is. And my definition of a great sear is what you would get at a great steakhouse, which is an even color, all the same dark brown mahogany edge to edge, not grill marks. That's the Maillard reaction. And it's very hard to do that because hot air, and this is a concept that we've talked about it before, hot air is not an efficient transmitter of energy. And in fact, air is a good insulator. And so it's really hard to get a good dark Maillard reaction in a hot air device like an oven or a pellet smoker. But you can get a good dark sear from infrared radiation, which comes from flame. Mm-hmm. And that's what the smoke fire attempts to do, is give you a good flame exposure.
All right, look, let's bottom line it here, Meathead, because I don't want to get off track because we got some other things to talk about here before we go into the second segment. When can we expect a official review from AmazingRibs.com?
Any day now. As soon as Max comes back from he turned it in today. I have it on my desk, and I was editing it when we started this conversation. I should finish editing it tomorrow, and I turn it over to David Joachim, who is another editor, 2 editors. Everything goes through 2 editors. And when Max comes back, we'll show him the edited version and make sure we didn't do any harm to his piece. And it should be available online sometime next week.
All right.
And this is something I really want to touch base on. There were a number of people who got their hands on this thing early and immediately started noticing some of these issues, that it's hotter on one side than on the other, that there can be grease fires. By the way, the grease fires are easily prevented by just sweeping the ash out after every cook or 2. What the problem is the ash blocks the grease drain. And once the ash blocks the grease drain, the grease builds up, and if a spark hits it, you got a fire. So you just got to get in there. It's a design flaw. They should not have put the grease trains there. They should have put some sort of cover over it or a flange or something, but it's there, and all you got to do is, and it's easy because this machine doesn't have a big deflector. It's easy just to reach in there with a whisk broom or a paintbrush or bare hands and just get the ash away from the drain holes, and you won't have a grease fire. So, I know that's a workaround, and you would expect that you wouldn't have to do that. And I put this in the design flaw category, but it ain't the end of the world, and it's not going to you're not going to catch your house on fire. Now, another thing you can do to prevent grease fires is when you get yourself an 18-pound brisket, trim off 1 inch of that fat. That fat is not going to baste the meat. It doesn't penetrate the meat. We've talked about this. By now, everybody who's listening to this show should understand what we've been preaching for years, is that oil and water don't mix, that meat is 70% water, fat is oil. The fat cap cannot penetrate the meat, moisturize the meat in anything. And if you put it face down like you would on a Weber Smoky Mountain because you think it's going to act like a heat shield, if you put it face down on a Weber Smoke Fire, and then you decide you're going to do the Myron mixing technique and crank it up to 325, you're going to melt 1 inch of, 1 inch by 2 feet long by 12. You're going to melt maybe a quart of fat down into the bottom of that machine, and the ash is going to mix with it, and you might risk a grease fire. So, trim your fat, sweep away the ash, use a little common sense, and it should never be a problem. When I tried to say this sort of thing on the internet, as one might expect, yeah, I see you're grinning, you know what happened. I got vilified. Now, I have worked all my life to build a reputation. We have a solid wall between advertising and editorial. I have never sold an ad. I don't even talk to advertisers. We pay Max full time to test grills and smokers. Now, we don't make a nickel off of that. You don't think, we link to websites that sell and they pay a finder's fee, but you don't think people go on our site, read the review about the Weber Smoke Fire, and then order it from through our site to the Weber. They go to the hardware store and buy it. Max is a loss leader for us. We pay Max because we are doing a service to the barbecue community to teach people, to show people what the cool grills are and what the clunkers are. And we are not shilling for Weber or anyone else. And when somebody says that he thinks we're just shilling for Weber, I'm sorry, but I blew my cork, and I made some nasty remarks. I used some foul language, something I have never done before on social media, and I guess a lot of people got mad at me about it. We had two schmucks who quit the Pitmaster Club because I said nasty things on Zuckerman's website, not my website, Zuckerman's website. So, what can I say?
All right, Meathead is on fire here, and you can find him at AmazingRibs.com.
Let's talk about the Hasty Bake.
All right, we'll talk about the Hasty Bake here in 1 minute when we return with Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. I will talk to you quickly about Big Papa Smokers, a one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. They have great rubs and seasonings, 13 actually. Perfectly balanced and will help transform ordinary meals into extraordinary meals. They also have a great relationship with Steph Franklin over at Simply Marvelous Barbecue. So when you put Simply Marvelous and Big Papa together, you're running the West Coast offense. Whatever that means to you, it's different to everybody that uses it. They also have a great sauce that they own called Granny's Barbecue Sauce. So if you're looking to get out of the original or what everybody is using right now and you want to try something new, Granny's might be the one that you want. Great by itself. Also a great base sauce if you don't want to make a base on your own, and then you can tweak from there. They also have a great selection of pellet, charcoal, and wood cookers. If you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use, you check out the Mac 2-Star General Pellet Grill. Big Papa's the exclusive online dealer, and they also offer special packages that nobody else does. If you're not a fan of pellet smokers, take a look at the Old Hickory Ace BP, the only charcoal smoker on Big Papa's trailer for his competition team. How about that? Now, if you're not sure of what cooker you need, really can't go wrong with anything they're selling at BigPapaSmokers.com. Give them a call if you have questions, 877-828-0727, or shop their website at BigPapaSmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA Smokers.com. That's Big Papa Smokers. More Meathead. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
All right, we are back, and this portion of the show brought to you by cookingpellets.com. So as we talk pellet cookers, use the #1 fuel out there on the market today, says me, cookingpellets.com, COOKIN, cookingpellets.com. Also available on Amazon if you'd rather shop there, no problem. And we're joined again by Meathead from AmazingRibs.com. All right, so quickly tell us about your favorite cooker, the Hasty Bake.
30 seconds before we get there. You just did a really nice commercial for one of my favorite suppliers, Big Papa Smokers.
Yeah.
I sent you a picture from him today, relevant to conversations we have had in the past. We have talked about pineapple on the grill, something that you have consistently busted my chops over. And Sterling from Big Papa Smokers sent me pictures today. There they are. Uh-huh. Yeah. He marinated them in pickle juice that had pickled jalapenos in them. Then he dusted them with some of his famous rubs and smoked them. And they look amazing. So, okay. We're not only playing with the smoke fire. We've always got multiple devices in the mill, and Max does most of them. But I, years ago, got my hands on a Hasty Bake Gourmet, which was, I think, at the top of the line on the Hasty Bake products, and I fell in love with it. I'll tell you about the design in a minute. They've just this summer, I think it was, they released an upgrade, something called the Hasty Bake 357, and it is effing amazing.
Oh, wow.
It's the absolute single best charcoal grill I have ever laid my hands on. I just love it. It's fantastic. But it's going to set you back pretty penny.
Like what? Like how much is a pretty penny?
$3,600.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a bit more than a Weber kettle. 36 Weber kettle.
Yeah, right.
Let me tell you about this thing. Gosh, I wish I had sent you some pictures. Okay. One of the coolest features is it's rectangular. So you've got a rectangular cooking surface instead of a round cooking surface, which makes it really easy to set up in 2 or 3 zones. So you can, really control heat. But when it comes to controlling heat, the coolest feature is it works like a Santa Maria grill, in that Santa Maria grills, you can crank the cooking surface up and down, moving it closer to or further from the fire. This one works better. This one, you can move the charcoal up or down. The food stays the same. So if you've got something like a big turkey under the hood, it's not going to bump into the hood when you raise it up. So the charcoal raises up and down. It's got a real deep section. And you can drop it down low, like 2.5, 3 feet. No, I think 2.5 feet down below, which is down where, you've got pictures. It drops down to almost the same kind of distance. Like if you've ever been to Dreamland in Tuscaloosa, the famous rib joint where the University of Alabama football players hang out. Hey, Greg, if you can go to AmazingRibs.com, I've got a picture where I labeled it. Well, these are good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. We're looking at trays that slide in. You can slide a water pan in, which can also be a drip pan, or it can hold your beans. You can put the heat deflectors, that's what those are going by, above the charcoal. So you turn it into an indirect system. There's the heat deflectors. There's the water pan. So it's just got all kinds of versatility built into it. That's the venting system, which they improved over the last one. And it's got an upper deck. So I'm giving a guided tour here. A front shelf that lifts up and down. It just got just about everything you could ever need. The only thing that I don't like about it is of course, like every other grill in the world, it relies on a dial thermometer, and I think it's a Tell-Tru, which is about as good a dial thermometer as you can get, but it's still a dial. Oh, that's a great picture. If you can just hold that up there. And then they did the smart thing. They put the Tell-Tru down almost on grate level, because most grills it's way up above, and hot air rises and airflow is so they've got the thermometer. But I just put a probe in. But it's just an amazing device with great temperature control for a charcoal grill. It's all stainless steel, all the high quality 304. And it can do just about anything. They recommend cooking with lump. I use briquettes on it all the time with no problem. I've even cooked with wood on it. I got a hold of mine in August, and I've been cooking on it in winter with no problems. It's double insulated. I just love this thing.
All right, so if you're interested, the 357 is Meathead said is going to run you $3,000, $3,600 or something along the lines like that. But Meathead's favorite cookers, and I just went to hastybake.com, so you can just go ahead and check that out if you're into those kind of cookers. Go ahead, Meathead.
If you don't want to spend that much, take a look at their other models. This is a design. This is interesting. This design was first created, I think, in 1948 or 1950, right around the time of the Weber kettle. It's that old. The basic core design hasn't changed that much. They keep tweaking it around the edges. I mean, double layer insulation, better ventilation, and better crank systems and so on. But the basic core concept came about in 1948 to 1950. I forget exactly when it was. They're built in Tulsa, not in overseas. All high quality stainless steel, and it's just a cooking machine, and you can raise that charcoal up to almost, I think, within 2 inches of the surface. So I mean, if you've got hot glowing charcoal and you want to get a good sear on your steak, you just raise the charcoal. Start it off low for a reverse sear, low and warm, and maybe even on an indirect side. And then move it over to the direct side, crank the charcoal up right underneath. Man, and it's a lot of real estate under the hood. You can cook a lot of food.
All right, Meathead is all in love with the Hasty Bake, so check it out, no doubt. All right, so let's talk about something important. We have St. Patrick's Day coming up here shortly. Maybe it's next week, I don't know. And then, of
17th.
course, so 2 things, pastrami, corned beef. You love pastrami. A lot of people eat corned beef. What's the major difference between the two?
All right. I'm going to make some broad generalizations. There's some exceptions to the rules here, but bear with me. In general, corned beef is beef, often usually made from brisket, although it is occasionally made from the hindquarters and other sections. And it is cured by salt and prog powder #1, sometimes prog powder #2, but that's nitrite. It's a preservative. It turns it pink. It's the same stuff that makes hot dogs pink and ham pink, and it's just a curing process. And when you go down to the store and you buy corned beef, it usually comes in a vacuum-sealed bag with liquid in it, because it's usually cured in a liquid with some spices floating around, and the spices really don't penetrate very far. And it's very, very salty. So if you're going to do the traditional process of just, throw it in a pot of water, improve on your technique a little. Take that baby out of the bag and soak it in cold water in the fridge, and change the water every couple of hours, and do it overnight or for 6 or 8 hours, and remove some of the excess salt. It'll vastly improve the eatability of the corned beef. Second, don't boil it. Boiling it will just shrink every bit of protein and all the muscle fibers. Keep it low at a simmer, 180 degrees or so. Just warm it and try not to shrink it. And trim off all the excess surface fat. Sometimes you get a section where you know how on a brisket there's flat and point, and in between there's a thick layer of fat.
Yep.
You can trim that out if you want, separate the two. And you don't have to throw a lot of herbs and spices in there, because they're just not going to penetrate. And then wait until it'll take you, an hour or so to really get it up to temp. But wait till towards the end before you throw in the potatoes, then the carrots, and then the cabbage. Cabbage only needs like 15, 20 minutes. You throw it in at the same time as the meat, and it's just going to disintegrate. So I've got an article on how to cook your classic corned beef and cabbage on AmazingRibs.com. I know it's not grilled, this technique, but it's such a great dish. Now, if you want to take it to another level, after you desalinate it, soak it in water, you can grill it, or better still, put a pastrami rub. And I have a pastrami rub on AmazingRibs.com called Close to Katz's Pastrami. Anybody who knows pastrami knows that Katz's Deli in New York is the king of pastrami. And I have gotten very close to duplicating their pastrami rub. And if you put this on your corned beef and smoke it, you're going to get pastrami. And I'm sorry, all my folks, you yelled at me when I said I loved pineapple. It's one of my favorite things on the grill.
I was going to say, let's make sure that we recount the right story instead of doing revisionist history. You said it was the best thing to come off a grill. No. But you said it was the best thing to come off a grill. That's what you said.
All right, well, I'm going to say I think pastrami is the ultimate form of brisket. I prefer it even to Texas brisket. You're shaking your head. You agree?
I'm a huge pastrami fan. Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love regular corned beef. There's a place downtown Cleveland that is well known. Slyman's Deli is well known for their corned beef. Been on TV a bunch of times, but I think pastrami is the added level that it needs to really take it to the next notch.
So, and I'm pretty sure we were the first barbecue website to put the pastrami recipe out there, and now they're all over out there. But I still think ours is the best. And I've gone into great detail on how, because there are a couple of different paths you can follow. You can steam it, you can sous vide it, you can just smoke it, you can smoke it and then hit it on the grill. We talk about the different techniques. So go to AmazingRibs.com and look up the pastrami recipe, and you will not regret it. The one word of caution is don't buy the El Cheapo corned beef that's on sale for St. Patrick's Day. Try to get a good brand. I don't know how to tell you what a good brand is or how to pick a good brand. What I do is I go to a real butcher, and a lot of real butchers make their own pastrami. Or here in Chicago, there's a couple of well-known butchers that make pastrami, but there's a couple of really El Cheapo injected ones that are kind of gelatinous and they're not great. So try to get a decent pastrami. Corned beef. I keep saying pastrami. I mean corned beef, and then turn it into pastrami, and you will thank me forever.
All right, let me ask you a quick question here before we run out of time. Aside from what we know on the meat side, is there any other iconic St. Patrick's Day food we should know about or consider making?
Well, just please don't dye your beer green.
Yeah, well, I mean, the city of Chicago dyes the whole friggin' river green.
And it's the coolest thing.
It is. It's really neat.
It's really cool. I went down there one day on a bright, sunny day, and it was fairly warm. And the Chicago River, which has 3 branches, and it dissects the city, and they get out there with a boat and they dump a green dye in the river, and the whole river is bright, iridescent, kryptonite green. Yeah. It's really cool.
Other side dishes aside from the not green beer?
Well, I mean, if you're doing pastrami, it's typically served on rye bread. And you don't want to go crazy. A little brown mustard, maybe some sauerkraut. Please don't put mayonnaise on it. If you want to warm it, you can. It's good cold. If you want to toast the rye bread, fine. But if you can get a really fresh rye bread loaf, that's the way to go. Or a marble bread, which is a rye bread pumpernickel combination. That's the way to go. And they make great sandwiches. And you put your sauerkraut on the side.
All right, sauerkraut on the side. Meathead breaking it all down for us as we are getting ready to hit up St. Patrick's Day once again. In the meantime, you can find Meathead right over at AmazingRibs.com. Join the Pitmasters Club if you'd like for less than $25 a year. Access to the Pitmasters Club forum, a monthly pitcast hosted by myself and Meathead as well, where we answer all the questions. Good time and great information and a good crowd over there that you're keeping, continuing to grow, like 16,000 plus members, right?
Yeah, and they're nice people, and we make sure that there's no fights, no flame wars. It's a very comfortable environment. There are some other forums out there where the minute you step in, they insult you, but not at the Pitmaster Club.
Everybody welcome over there. Check it out, AmazingRibs.com, and you'll find Meathead right here the second Tuesday of every month, as you have for years and years past. Next time, Meathead, maybe we talk about the Barbecue Hall of Fame.
Sure. I know. Well, let's quickly tell people they are taking nominations.
Yes.
Just Google Barbecue Hall of Fame. And I personally nominated Greg Rempe. I'm sure others have as well.
I nominated Meathead, by the way, weeks ago.
Please nominate me if you would. I believe I was nominated officially last year. And so I think I'm a carryover.
Yes, that's right.
I didn't get in. But there's only 27 members of the Hall of Fame, and there's 19 living members. So it's a pretty exclusive club.
No doubt. So we will see Meathead back here on the second Tuesday of April. Meathead, always appreciate the time.
Always good to hang with you and the rest of the Centralites.
All right, there he is.
Happy St. Patrick's Day, everybody.
Meathead, right there, getting ready to go back to work and answer all the questions that were flooding in while he was on the show. Heavily trafficked barbecue and grilling website, as I've mentioned before. And again, he is the second Tuesday of the month regular guest and has been for, quite some time at this point. I'd have to go back and check out when we started doing a monthly with him. John, any idea on how long Meathead has been a second Tuesday of the month regular? Meathead did a barbecue roundtable, I think, before the show was actually a live show, and it was just a roundtable, a podcast, one of the original rib roundtables. So that was probably in 2007. Crazy. Or at AmazingRibs.com to get all the recipes Meathead was talking about and to see some of the other science. And then, of course, we will be waiting to see how the smoke fire grades out once Max Good gets back from his traveling. I just release it now. Screw what Max thinks. You hand it in, get it to press. Let's go. People are interested. Gotta wait until next week now. Come on, Max. Stay in town. Get that thing released. Let's go. I don't think Big Green Egg is going to be at HPBA this year either. I think both them and Weber out. And, of course, people wondering why Weber is out. Some people speculating that they don't want to have to put up with the smoke fire talk. They're pulling out. They're not going. Of course, I know a lot of huge companies that are not in the live fire industry that go like every other year. They just don't do their major trade show every year. They go every other year. All right, we're back to wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Big name interviews, advice on cooking brisket and ribs, and the only host willing to share his honest opinion on all things important in the world of barbecue. It's the Barbecue Central Show.
And this portion of the show being brought to you by Fireboard. Monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously. Connect to Wi-Fi for cloud-based monitoring. Or connect via Bluetooth. If you have Google or Alexa Assistant, you're in luck because Fireboard's fully integrated with both. Find out more by visiting fireboard.com or call 816-945-2232. We'll see what's happening with Ted Conrad here, hopefully in the next couple months. So get an update on Fireboard, see where they're at, where they're going to be for the rest of the year. Typically, they're down at the American Royal event since they're Kansas City based or right outside of Kansas City. So they're usually there setting up and having a good time, answering all your questions, dealing on some gear as well. What is this? Referral key? That's going right to the spam box. All right, we are pointing to the second hour. Refresh libations, and we will be back. Stick around. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show on the Barbecue Central Network.
This is Jimmy Burns from Malvern, Ohio, and you're listening to Barbecue Central.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet for wiener.
But listen, Libertius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. It is the Barbecue Central show. We talk about live fire stuff. We cover the industry like ESPN covers sports. If you missed the first hour, never fear. We're recording. You can get it on Wednesday, second hour on Thursday. But you should try and plan on watching this show live before you die. It's fun. Still to come on this show tonight, one of my favorite people to talk about live fire and food with in general, Andy Husbands, the owner of the Smoke Shop. We're going to be talking about the Smoke Shop's Backyard Barbecue, a new book that he has coming out. And he's up there in the New England area, so always exciting to talk with Andy. Follow me socially, if you will, at BBQ Central Show, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat. Remember, rule number 3 or 4 or 5, maybe, don't snappy snap on the Snapchat. And you can follow me /BBQ Central Show on Facebook or give that page a like if you'd like. By the way, I've gotten an inordinate amount of personal page friend requests. Now, I want to tell you, I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. I'll probably have to say it again in a number of months. I have hundreds in the queue waiting to be approved. I'm here to tell you, I'm not approving any personal friend requests. Don't go to my personal page because you know me and submit a friend request. I'm not going to accept it. Not because I don't like you, because I'm not doing anything with my personal page. I don't post anything about me. My wife tags me in a bunch of stuff. I don't post anything about it. I have the personal page so I can have the show page because that's what Facebook does. They hold you hostage. They make you make a personal page so you can have a show page. So if you're waiting for me to accept your personal friend request, it's not happening. I'm sorry. I meant that. It's not happening. And again, it's not because I don't like you or that we can't be internet friends. Instead, we can be internet friends if you go to the Barbecue Central show page /BBQ Central Show and give me a like. Then send me a direct message if you want. Go ahead. Interact with me there. But I'm not doing it on the personal page. Because again, if I never had the show, I would never have social media. And quite frankly, I'm not that interested. Hey, did you know that the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less is coming up? Episode 115, taking you back to 3/8/2012. One of the biggest barbecue events of the year, of course, is the Houston Livestock and Rodeo contest. During this segment, I was joined by the pitmaster of Texas Pepper Jelly, Craig Sherry, who was also a past IBCA president. And we talked about the Houston Livestock and Rodeo event and how it operates and the prestige that goes along with winning it. And it's certainly not for the money, but it is for the belt buckle and the bragging rights that reach far beyond the bank. Who needs cash when you can win a big, great belt buckle? Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Everything will be great. That's all you need to do. Subscribe to the podcast. All right. Let's see here. Well, I have to rework a few items here. Where did it go? Oh, yeah, there it is. Just getting ready for my pal Andy Husbands, who is coming up here next segment. But look at here. We got a phone call coming in, and how about that? we go to Shaker Heights. All right. Caller, you're on the air.
Yo, Greg, it's Smokey.
Smokey?
Yeah.
Smokey, I thought you jumped off a bridge a few weeks ago, and that was the end.
The end? Jumping off a bridge is never the end, my friend. I hit a tree, and it threw me to another tree. That branch tossed me to a whole nother branch. I got a whole new lease on life now. I feel great. I'm alive.
Wow, that's very cartoony. I can't believe that actually happened.
Oh. My name's Smokey. This is how I live my life 24/7.
Wow. Well, that is one harrowing tale. I'm glad you're still with us.
Oh, thank you. I mean, I'm still terrified of the smoke fire, but it seems to be okay right now. I mean, I'm looking at it, and I'm not on fire.
Wow.
I can guarantee you.
So what have you been up to in order to get that message out? Have you been doing the standard bag move of trolling Facebook groups again?
Smokey never trolls. I'm an influencer, Greg. You know this.
Right, influencer.
In fact, right now, I'm having another party that you're not invited to.
Of course.
And we are having a social media influencer party. 10,000 followers and up, except for me. I'm at 25.
25? I thought you were looking for 47.
I was at 47 until everyone thought I was dead. And you gave out the wrong Instagram handle, don't you remember?
I apologize for that. I didn't realize that I was giving out the wrong handle.
You gave out at BBQ, and I'm barbecue.
Sorry about that. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
So you're having an influencers party. Like, who's around?
My best friend.
Oh?
First off, I see him over there right now. You can all be introduced to Big Green Craig.
Would you be
My
everybody?
Oh. I love Big Green
Big
Craig.
Craig.
Yeah, all right.
Big Green Craig
Yeah.
is here. Then we over there, I think he looks like he's drinking some sort of Mexican beer. We have Mickey Man Meat.
Can you get him to say hi, do you think?
Mickey.
Oh, nice.
What's up, guys? Like I said, let's get into this fucking podcast, bro.
Wow. He sounds pretty angry.
And then he's always angry, and no party is complete without Maddie and Kiki.
Really?
Yes, Maddie and Kiki.
Can you, will they say hi?
Hello.
Hey,
Come
barbecue
here,
family.
girl.
Hey, barbecue family.
Wow, man, it's a veritable cornucopia of social media influencers.
Influencer.
Wow.
It's an influencer party.
Nice.
It's the biggest oh my God. Greg.
Yes?
Greg, I'm getting scared again.
What's happening?
I see on Facebook, Mickey Man Meat said he brought Corona to my party.
Yeah?
I don't want Corona, Greg. What am I going to do? I'm so scared.
You're scared about Corona?
I don't want Corona.
Oh.
Stop it. There's bigger things afoot than catching on fire. We need a doctor.
Well, I'm not a doctor, but I'm happy to help if I can.
Oh my God, how do I get rid of this disease?
All right, well, it's not a disease, it's a virus.
Stop talking about specific units I can pull. We're about to all start dropping like fries because Mickey's mad at me. He brought the Corona.
All right. I happen to know a little bit about this. I was just on cdc.gov, and here's what they say, so make sure that you take notes. Number 1, get plenty of rest.
Okay, let me help. Okay, quick. Big Green Craig. Oh, never mind. Big Green Craig's napping in the corner already for some reason. Okay, that's good.
All right, number 2.
He's taking a nap. All good.
Drink plenty of liquids.
Oh my God, the cops are driving by. Why are they driving by? Do they know we have Corona? Oh my God, there's cops showing up, Greg. Everyone knows we have Corona. Okay, Mickey Man Meat. He's over there drinking plenty of liquids. He's chugging that Mexican beer I talked about. I can't see the label.
Oh, all right. Well,
but he's chugging it. He's finished the 6-pack, Greg. We're out.
Oh,
What
dear.
else?
Well, number 4 on the list is hot showers seem to help with sore throats.
Okay, quick. Maddie and Kiki, run inside. Get in the shower right now.
Huh.
Okay, Greg.
All right.
Maddie and Kiki are running inside. I can hear the shower. It's going. It's going right now.
Wendy?
Oh what is going on?
What?
Is the water
I think they're in the shower.
Yes, Lisa.
Oh, yeah, that's my shower.
Shall we
I can
begin?
hear it going. Yes. Okay, they're showering. Okay, they're safe.
All right. They're safe. Oh, that's weird. All right, now the last one.
It's really weird.
I heard that keeping warm can help those infected.
Keep warm. Good thing
Yes.
we have the smoke fire here. Quick. My best friend in the world, Babyback Maniac, he's here. Go over there right now and get close to that smoke fire and stay warm.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a perfectly safe idea.
Oh my God. Turn it up to 600. Get warmer. I don't want you to die, Babyback.
600? I mean,
Turn it up. It's getting hot.
what was the reason you were having the influencer party again?
300, 400. This thing goes from 0 to 600 in 7 seconds. It's burning. Oh my God, Greg.
What?
Oh my God.
What's going on?
My best friend, Babyback Maniac's head is on fire. He's just like Ghost Rider. He's running around the party. Oh my God.
His head is on fire?
Greg Craig on fire. He caught Big Greg Craig on fire with his head.
Oh my God. This guy can't catch a break.
Mickey Man, he was already covered in vodka when he shot him and he's on fire.
Oh no.
The whole house is catching on fire. Maddie and Kiki, I see them. They're still wet. They're showering. They're safe. It's good. But all my other friends are dead, Greg. They're on fire.
Oh no. This is a terrible turn of events. He's catching everybody on fire.
This is the worst backyard barbecue in the history of backyard barbecues. You know what, Greg?
What?
I see a bridge. I'm
What?
gonna go. I'm
What?
out.
You're out?
I'm out. Kevin Coleman, what have you done? I'm gone,
Smokey! Smokey! Oh no! Did it happen again? I can only hope that perhaps another tree branch or three. I mean, you can't be lucky that many times in a row. How many people have a bridge in their backyard? It's ridiculous. He's either the most lucky or unlucky person I've ever heard. Holy moly. That was quite a phone call. We are back with Andy Husbands as soon as I get done telling you about Southside Market and Barbecue. By the way, thoughts and prayers to Barbecue Smokey. Hopefully, somehow he made it down safely from jumping off yet another bridge. It was 480 bridge last time, and he was able to escape. Wow. Hey, established in 1882, Southside is the oldest barbecue joint in Texas. They've been owned and operated for 3 generations by the same family. Famous for the original beef sausage, coarse ground, and a natural pork casing. Authentic Central Texas barbecue. All meats, including prime briskets, are smoked low and slow for many hours over real Texas post oak wood. They ship nationwide via the online store at southsidemarket.com. They also ship fresh and smoked sausages nationwide. Customers can choose to ship now or later, include custom gift notes, mailed to multiple addresses without additional charges. Everything shipped and vacuum sealed to ensure freshness and ease of preparation for the customer. All the meats are processed on the on-site USDA inspected facility. And the on-site meat market has fresh and smoked products. Custom orders are welcome. If you want to eat there, you can. 2 restaurants are there for your choosing. Elgin, Texas since 1882 and Bastrop, Texas since 2014. Grocery distribution through Texas and many surrounding states. 10% off right now if you go to southsidemarket.com and use promo code BBQ Central, all one word lowercase. That's a BBQ Central at checkout. And that's good for your first order, second, third, 10th, 20th. 10% off your online order at southsidemarket.com with promo code BBQ Central. Andy Husbands coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back. I hope Barbecue Smokey is all right. Let me know if you hear from him.
the only show giving you a monthly visit from a doctor of barbecue, a man actually named Meathead, the author of a barbecue Bible, bloggers, reviewers, competitors, and manufacturers by the dozens. It's the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
All right, this portion of the show being brought to you by Smithfield. Go to smithfield.com throughout the grilling season for recipes, as well as tips and tricks from World Championship pitmasters like Chris Lilly, Darren Ward, Ernest Cervantes, Childs Cridland. Mouth-watering flavor, no artificial ingredients. Smithfield fresh pork is quite simply the finest pork money can buy. And it's trusted choice of World Championship pitmasters, so head on over to smithfield.com and hook up with all the info. Hey, my guest in the second hour, an accomplished pitmaster, chef, restaurateur, and he has a few books already to the credit, co-authored to his buddy Chris Hart there of IQ, which we've had on the show as well. And tonight we talk about a new book, The Smoke Shop's Backyard Barbecue, that he also partnered with William Salazar. So we race to the hotline and welcome back friend of the show, Andy Husbands. Hey, Andy.
How you doing?
I'm absolutely fabulous. Appreciate you making time for the show. You want a fun fact here, Andy?
Yes.
Fun fact, August 11th, 2009, first time you ever appeared on the show.
Wow.
Yes. I don't know if you recall, but you were on a show called Hell's Kitchen at the time. And I don't even remember how I was able to contact you. Maybe it was through some PR hack through the show, because the show was still, I mean, it was already done filming when you were on the show. But for the TV watcher, I mean, I was steeped right in the middle of the season, and I had fallen madly in love with you from a viewer standpoint, going, wow, they continually put this guy up for elimination. There's a lot of swearing going on. But most importantly, week after week, he continues to press through, and he doesn't get voted out. And it's like giving the middle finger to all these people. You know, when you look back on Hell's Kitchen, if you ever even bother looking back at Hell's Kitchen, what are like the first one or two things that come to your mind about that experience?
I think the brutality of it. It's pretty mentally challenging. And I don't mean like a game of chess. I mean, it's hard. And when I got through it, you know, I had some issues in my head.
Really?
I really did. Like making decisions, having confidence. It really goofs with your head a lot. So it was brutal.
Did it ascend you to any specific point of culinary skill, or I mean, did you?
No.
Was there a win? Was there a win for you out of any of that?
No, there's no win.
Oh.
And I mean, the thing people need to know is that it's not real, right? So I would cook something that would be perfect. That you look, I owned restaurants at this time. I knew how to cook. I wasn't some amateur. And they would take it and just smash that plate and say, that sucks. So, you know, your mind starts kind of melting because you don't want to go home, but you want to do everything right. And it's craziness. It's really intensity. But the food was crap.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the food was crap.
What was your interaction time like with Gordon Ramsay? Was it just what you saw on television, or would he hang out like when the cameras weren't on and chat with you guys, or no?
You only saw him like about right when service starts. Basically, when you see the camera, that's when you see him. You do not see him at any other time. No.
Is it better to not have any potential rapport building time with him then, so he can just be a raging a-hole all the way through, and there's no personal bond there to mess with?
Yeah, I think better for him.
Right.
I mean, that's the reality of it, right? The show's about him. The arc of the show is America, look at this piece of doo-doo I have. And then at the end, it's America, look what I have for you. I made you a chef.
And you can now work in one of my restaurants in Vegas or whatever.
Right.
They're probably
By
not
the way,
even open at this point.
The guy that won my episode.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if he's still in jail, but he was definitely in jail for a while for some stupid stuff.
Like after he won it, he's in jail?
Yes.
Really?
I wouldn't hire that guy if you paid me.
You know that to be true?
I know that for a fact.
Wow. Jail.
And the guy who came in second place, my friend Dave, should have won. And he's like so upset. He's like, why didn't I win? I'm like, you didn't win because you should have won. That's how reality TV
Well,
it works.
I used to watch that comedy show before they really trashed it, like Last Comic Standing. In the year that Ralphie May lost to Dat Fan, I was like, oh my God, this is the biggest travesty I have ever seen in my life. Was a obvious talent who, I mean, whatever happened to Dat Fan? He won that TV show, and then he was gone off the face of the earth literally 6 minutes later. And then Ralphie May continued to steam on to international stardom, untimely demise. I mean, he was certainly out of shape. But wow, I mean, he was huge. So anyway, let's talk about barbecue. Of course, we're going to be talking about this book as well, The Smoke Shop's Backyard Barbecue. So is this thing out for sale right now? Can people get their mitts on it?
All reputable booksellers will have that. Absolutely.
What does that mean, all reputable booksellers?
Maybe some non-reputable as well, hopefully.
Interesting.
I don't really know what that means, but it should be sold anywhere. Any local bookstore, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, name it.
All right, and it's called The Smoke Shop's Backyard Barbecue. We're talking with Andy Husbands. AndyHusbands.com is his website if you want to learn a little bit more about Andy. So as we look at Andy the cook, I would assume that maybe you were intrigued with cooking as you were coming up. Maybe you come from a family that was into cooking and you were able to learn some of mom's or dad's secret recipes or something like that. Or, I mean, where did your...
Not even close.
Not even close. Wow.
No, and my mom's a great cook now, but back then, no. She herself and my father weren't great cooks. It was actually, I was what you called a latchkey kid. And so I stayed home by myself, and my sister was older and gone, and I just loved to cook. Like, it was something that I learned how to make donuts. I'm like, I'm going to grab this Joy of Cooking book, and I'm going to look at it and read it and figure out how to make donuts. And I would learn how to make things just because I thought it was fun.
When you get older, do you know that this is a passion of yours that you want to follow into a profession?
Yeah, so when I was choosing colleges, Johnson & Wales was my choice, my number one choice. And I wanted to go to school for cooking. It was what I wanted to do. My father wasn't super psyched. He wanted me to be a lawyer or a minister.
Oh, wow.
Which, if you knew me well, you'd find both of those hilarious. So he's like, well, you get a job. So I got a job. And he's like, I'm like, I love it. And so then I went to school for it, and I loved it. And it's just all I've ever wanted to do was work in restaurants.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, I think both you and Chris had spent time at some point or another at East Coast Grill under Chris Lasinger.
Yes.
So is that where the live fire passion comes from, or were you always into cooking with flame?
No, absolutely. That's where the restaurant before I worked actually had a live fire as well. And it's one of the reasons I was able to get my job at the East Coast Grills. Like, I had experience working at grill. Mm-hmm. No, it's Chris and I worked there, and not just a passion for live fire, but a passion for barbecue, because Chris Lester was doing some barbecue, and a passion for big flavors. I mean, this is what Chris was known for. If you don't have Thrill of the Grill, that is the best grilling cookbook out there. Of course, I have a grilling cookbook also, but Chris's is far better. It's an amazing book.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the standards that people continue to mention. Of course, East Coast, not in business anymore, but widely considered, especially in the New England part of the area. I mean, anybody that was into barbecue or just live flame cooking, Chris was like the first name that came off the tongue.
Yeah.
Do you know what he's up to now, by chance?
I see him around. He's kind of he's a life of leisure. He's consulting with restaurants. He's taking it easy, traveling, everything he deserves and a lot more.
No doubt. We're talking with Andy Husbands. AndyHusbands.com is website. So when we talk about writing books, things that come to my mind of what I would never want to do ever. Writing books is right up there, 1A and 1B, reading books and writing books. I think, both that don't turn me on at all. People could approach me and offer me a lot of money, and I would realize that while I will probably want to take the money, writing the book, I mean, to me, that seems really hard. So what is the inspiration for you to write book? Is it to pass along something that you know in hopes of inspiring somebody or giving them tools to be a little bit more successful than they really are?
So, great question. And writing a book is fun for me. I think it's a little bit like children. You write a book and you go, I'm never, ever doing that again. And then a couple years later, you're like, maybe I'll write another one. What's important, and I'll talk about Chris Hart and I, is it's important we have something to say. We can't just write a book. That doesn't work. So for us, like Pitmaster, which is the last book we wrote together, and it's really phenomenally sells well. We wanted to talk about regionality of barbecue and our passion for barbecue. So when you have this love, it's like writing a song. If I could write music, I would write a song about barbecue. So I can't, and I can't sing. So I write a book about barbecue because that's what I love. And the newest book, Smoke Shop's Backyard Barbecue, it's like an ode to barbecue. The whole premise came from Tuffy Stone saying, nobody cooks a brisket for themselves. And I heard that, and it was like an aha moment for me. I'm like, yeah, barbecue is a bit about celebration and family. And I don't mean just close family. I mean your family and your friends, gatherings. And that's what that book is about.
When you're putting it together, are you able to draw back on the experience of, Wicked Good Burger and Wicked Good Barbecue, Pitmaster, and go, hey, I have a depth of knowledge at this point, how to construct, how the process goes, to where this time around on the newest book, the process is a little bit easier? Or can you not correlate experience with ease of writing a next book?
Well, if somebody knows a better process, our process is always a challenge, trying to figure out the best way to organize it. Again, my music reference is, some artists write a melody, some artists write a poem, some artists write a title. I write a title, and then usually I'll change it 1,000 times. So I write a title, and then I kind of dream about what I think that will be. So if it was macaroni salad, then we just go from there, and we kind of go about, well, what could we do? What do we want to do? What do we want it to taste like? And then you kind of write it from there. It's a really kind of fun process to write a recipe, and then hand it off to the testers who bring it back to you using your words. They make it. It's a really cool process to get to try it and go, yeah, this is good. This part isn't. You kind of able to play around with it. It's a fun little process. But regarding your question about other books, for instance, if I need a mayonnaise, I spent 5 days making the best mayonnaise recipe possible in Wicked Good Burgers. So if I need a mayonnaise recipe, I will use that one. And lucky enough, I own the rights to it, so I can use it.
Could you not use it otherwise? Oh, you mean use it in the book?
You can't use someone else's recipe.
Oh.
You'll get in big trouble. That's called plagiarism.
Yes, I get that.
And these days, and I know this, I won't name the person, but...
well, we're courageous on the show, Andy, so you have to name the person. Go ahead.
I won't name the person, but I know someone who had a book deal, and I know someone that turned in their book, and they put it through a magic machine, and it says, it can tell you if it's like any other book. It's just like they do with students in papers.
Yeah.
And so they're able to tell on, copying, and this guy lost his whole deal just because he had... I don't think he deliberately meant to do it. I think he was just sampling and maybe did a little too much.
Right. Yeah. I think a lot of people do that in college when they're writing term papers hungover from a hard night of drinking and realizing I have a term paper to turn in that next day. So we don't want to plagiarize, number one. So how does the book deal come together? Are you approached by a publisher saying, hey, we're looking for some barbecue stuff? I mean, we're not in the spring yet, but obviously this is going to be a time of year now where over the next 3 months or so, you're going to see a lot of new barbecue and grilling books. You see them every year. Yep. As much as I thought that this thing would go away, the content wouldn't go away, but it would be more on some type of a digital platform. Yeah. The cookbooks are still around. People still want the tactile version, something they can refer back to and not have it be an electronic thing. So are you actively have an idea and you're in search of to go pitch, or is somebody going, hey, Andy, you've done it before, let's partner so you can get another thing out?
More the latter. If you want to write a book, let's say you've never written a book and you want to write a book. Yeah. The question they're going to ask you is, why would anybody want your book? That's the question. If you've never written a book and they're like, Greg, why would anybody want to write hear a book from you? And it's like music. Again, when they go what makes you special? You sound like Led Zeppelin. Why does anybody care? So you need to have some kind of cred to be able to write a book. As well as your first book, you've got to write introduction, you've got to write sample chapters, you've got to write sample recipes, you've got to do all sorts of stuff. Oh, wow. For me, I just type an email to my editor and go, here's my book idea. And they're like, okay. That's pretty much how it happens.
Wow. So you were just inspired to do something.
Yeah, but I've given them ideas that they're like, maybe not so much. You know, so I think for a while I was on a kick that I wanted to write a book of 100 recipes of quinoa, and they're like, that sounds fun. It probably won't sell.
Yeah.
So, because I was cooking a lot of quinoa, and I thought that would be fun.
Are there 100 recipes for quinoa? I mean,
give me enough money, I'll write that book.
What the hell is even quinoa? Is that like rice or something? Is that like a rice thing or couscous?
It's the oldest grain. It looks like couscous. It's the world's oldest grain. The Incas used to eat it. It has more protein than any other grain. It's good.
Wow. Good. Like, how do you make it delicious? Like, what's your favorite quinoa dish? Do you have a dish?
I like to make it like couscous sometimes.
All right.
I also like to make it instead of stir fry. I put the quinoa in there. Great for breakfast with nuts and dried fruit and maple syrup.
Kind of like an oatmeal, but quinoa.
Yeah.
Yeah? I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe I'm missing out. I mean, as Steven Reichland, I'm like the worst at eating. Like a 7-year-old. I mean, I do have expansive palate, and I do try a lot of stuff, but then he starts saying, well, have you tried this? And then it's like, no. And then I realize maybe I'm not as expansive as I once thought. Let's talk about what is inside Smoke Shop Barbecue Book. What is somebody going to find that is going to draw them to your book and things that you wanted to get across in this effort?
Yeah. I mean, so again, as I said, it's about celebration and family. The backbone is barbecue, and pretty much everything I do is backbone is barbecue. But I feel that a lot of times barbecue people get pigeonholed into, oh, you just cook barbecue. And all the barbecue cooks I know do so much more. So what we did is all different chapters. We have a Taco Tuesday chapter, a fancy chapter, a brunch chapter. So we just did all these different kind of fun chapters that are kind of based on barbecue and greater, like city ham we do, or ropa vieja for which is smoked brisket, kind of a Puerto Rican style. So all just different stuff. It's really cool. Great desserts, great drinks, really good drinks.
What's your favorite drink in the book?
Great question. The cold brew coconut martini. It is tasty. Really good.
Cold brew coffee?
Yeah, cold brew coffee and coconut, like a coconut liqueur. It's freaking awesome.
Do you have a favorite way of making cold brew coffee? Because I really got into, I almost really got into cold brew, and then I saw like these contraptions that you had to get in order to make it right, and then I was quickly off of it. So how do you do it?
So you want to do a coarse ground, 3-to-1. So if you put 1 cup of coffee, 3 cups of water, stir it, put it on your counter, stir it maybe another couple hours. Tomorrow you get coffee.
You don't have to refrigerate it or anything either? You just let it sit out?
I just let it sit out. And then you strain it, and then you put it in the refrigerator.
Easy enough.
Yeah.
So stronger coffee, more coffee, and the same amount of water then?
Yeah, but I don't like it too strong. It's pretty good that way. 3-to-1 is the way you want to go.
Well, cold brew known for the smoothness and and the better flavor, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
All right. So the cold brew martini. Is it a gin or a vodka?
Vodka.
Yeah. What's your favorite vodka?
Oh, great question. So I actually don't believe in great vodkas. I don't believe there is such a thing. I like vodka
because they're too similar in the end. It's too similar.
When you're adding to something, you probably don't know. I mean, I probably stay away from Mr. Boston, but I don't know if you have that out there. But Mr. Boston vodka is one of the ones we have out here. But look, Stoli's fine, Absolute's great. Smirnoff is fantastic. But I would bet you next time I see you, I'll bet you $100 that if we could put 1 low end, 4 high end, you can't pick out the low end.
Yeah.
However you want to taste it.
It's one of those things.
Yeah.
But other ones are certainly different. Like a gin would be a different thing. Bourbon would probably be a little. I don't know.
Absolutely.
Maybe is bourbon. Do you think bourbon is on a different field? I mean, it's certainly like the most in vogue spirit out there right now, and probably has been for the last 5 years or so. I mean, can people really tell the difference between a Pappy Van Winkle 7000 and a Maker's Mark?
Yeah, we have over 250 American whiskeys at my restaurant.
Really?
So New England's largest whiskey collection.
Holy shit!
So could I pick out Pappy out of 5 of them? Maybe not, but I can tell you pretty much what we're drinking and what the flavors are and where it comes from. Pretty close to it.
250?
Yeah, we're tasting all the time. We have an unbelievable beverage director, Michael Boughton. He's super talented. So it's a lot of training, a lot of learning. Absolutely.
Do you have whatever the highest per ounce pour is out there on the market? That Pappy's whatever.
Pappy, yes, we have Pappy and Rip. Yeah, when we have it, we sell it out. It goes for about $80 a shot, and we sell it out when we get it pretty much every October, and we're probably sold out by now.
So, what's your buy on that bottle?
I don't know.
Oh, come on! Yeah, I love the business of business. Are you kidding me? I mean, I'm a business guy at heart. All right, can you stand by for just 1 second here, and I'll tell people about the Barbecue Guru, and then we'll talk about a little bit more about the book and then the restaurant business.
I love the Guru.
All right. Oh yeah, you like the Guru?
Yeah, yeah, we use it.
Andy Husband's endorsed Barbecue Guru. All right, stand by, and we'll come right back, and I will talk to you quickly about the Barbecue Guru. So they're the longest-running sponsor of the show, of course, and they are the creators of the automatic pit temperature control technology, originally started by Fred Perkel, and now Bob Trudnak running the business, of course. Bob is going to be on next week, I believe. We're going to be announcing some new products that are about 4 weeks out from release. There was a little soft mention a couple days ago, but it's probably a good month or so before you can actually get your hands on it, so we'll talk about that. You can also take a look at their ceramic cooker that has a built-in power draft fan, the Monolith Barbecue Guru Edition grill. They also have a bunch of great accessories if you would like to add some capacity to your ceramic cooker. They have the rib ring. You can do 6 St. Louis-style racks right there in the rib ring, effectively doubling the capacity of most ceramic cookers. Plus a whole bunch of other stuff. You want a cooker, you can get the shotgun cooker. That's doing really well. Great capacity. Of course, it's made to run one of the Barbecue Gurus. And they have a bunch of different gurus to offer as well. So depending on what your tech level is and what your budget is, I want to meet your needs. If you have any questions, call them 800-288-GURU. That's 800-288-GURU, or visit the website barbecueguru.com. That's BBQGURU.com. The Barbecue Guru continues to be a breakthrough in barbecue technology. Andy Husband's coming up. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
And this portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet, currently available in 2 sizes, but there's going to be another size coming shortly. Whether you're a beginner or a pro, definitely a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them Barbecue Central Show sent you. 10 years in business, and they're going to be at the NBBQA hosting parties in the first weekend in April. So if you're going to be out there hanging out, tell Noah and Amber and all the gang, hey now. All right, we're back with Andy Husbands here from the Smoke Shop, which is like, where are you specifically? I don't want to just say New England or Boston, but where are you at specifically?
Me right now? Or,
no, the Smoke Shop, of course, yeah. What is your home address, Andy? We all want to come and say hey now.
we have one in the Seaport of Boston. That's 343 Congress Street. One in Kendall Square in Cambridge, Mass. We have one in Assembly Row, which is in Somerville. Soon to be in the where the TD Bank North Garden is, in something called Hub Hall, and soon to be in Harvard Square. So we're coming.
All smoke shops?
Yeah.
I'm no mathematician, but that's like almost 5 locations once they're all up and running, right?
You're correct on both.
All right. So you have obviously identified an operation that is good for business, that is attracting people to come in and spend money and eat food to the point where you can grow. 5 locations within a city is pretty good. I can't name 5 restaurants that are in Cleveland that, I can name 3, but it's a burger joint from Michael Simon, but I don't think there's 5 of a similar business mindset that you have. So in Boston, super competitive. There's a lot of food offerings there. So to have 5 barbecue restaurants that are basically, is it all running the same menu, same concept, same everything, just 5 different places across the city?
90% same. 90% the same. We move stuff in and out, and seasonality and locations, and like our bartenders will do special drinks, and we do special menu items at different locations. But yeah, all about the same. But Boston's big and it's provincial, so people will. If you're in Boston, you don't always come to Cambridge, and if you're in Harvard Square, it's hard to park in Harvard Square. So really, the people just around there go stay in Harvard Square. So it's very provincial, and barbecue transcends, right? It's like one of those things that everybody loves. We'll have a guy in shorts next to a woman in a dress, next to a man in a suit, and everybody's there having a good time.
But this is where you delineate. It's got to be good. I mean, I can show you 15 or 20 barbecue places that are currently open in Cleveland, and 17 suck ass. Somehow they remain open, but they're some of the worst barbecue that I've ever had. 3 of them are really good, and happy to take you there and, say my name and talk to the owners and blah, 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 because I've realized, but I mean, 3 out of 20 or 25 is so barbecue is one of those things where it's got to be good to continue to attract people. Obviously, you have the snobs that probably come in to think they really know everything and this and that. But if it's really good, people are going to keep coming back. So why did you want to get into the barbecue business? Especially, you were running, obviously, very successfully at Tremont 647 before that run ended. Were you running in concert then with 647 in the smoke shop at the same time?
Toward the end, there was like a year overlapping, but I was just getting ready to sell it. And I had Tremont 647 for 20 years, and it was a good life, and it was my first love.
Yeah.
But then while I had Tremont 647, Chris Hart and I started competing and doing very well in barbecue. And ultimately, our team won the world championships and first place in Kansas City with brisket out of 510 teams. So I wanted to do something new, and I'm extremely passionate about barbecue. So opening up a barbecue restaurant seemed the right move for me. There's a lot of challenges, but I felt that technology in creating and serving great barbecue. So there's a lot of challenges and just some technology stuff that I really felt comfortable with to be able to keep our barbecue at the level of barbecue I want to serve. Funny thing you say about someone comes in and knows a lot about barbecue. We'll get a guy who will be, I'm from Texas and I know great barbecue. And I'm like, I'm sure you do. And he's like, and your ribs are no good. And I'm like, okay, what do you want me to do? And he wants me to, salt and pepper them and, smoke them with pecan. Okay. But if I do that, then that guy from Memphis is going to come in tomorrow and go, your ribs suck. I know good barbecue. I'm from Memphis. And I'm like, I'm sure you do. What do you want me to do? Well, I want you to put some sugars and I want you to, and seasonings and spices and coal roast them. Okay. But see how that goes? So for us, we're not trying to be, we're just highlighting the best barbecue that I've had around the country and just doing the best job we can.
I was just going to say, can you quantify what the Smoke Shop's barbecue is?
Yeah, it's highlights, highlights from my travels around the country, just doing stuff that people like. And look, if people didn't like it, we wouldn't sell it. I'm in the business of selling. I mean, that's the reality, right?
Yeah.
I'm passionate about it. I love it. I love the hospitality. I love when people want tours of our pits. It's just my favorite. I absolutely adore that.
The hardest part for me to wrap my head around a barbecue restaurant is, when, I don't know when your meats get ready to finish and go in. I assume you have like an Alto Sham or, some high humidity holding facility. CVAP, yeah. To me, Texas has it right. You show up at lunch and you open up the window and everybody runs through and you serve and chop and do whatever you do until you run out and you close the sign and say, come back tomorrow. And that's it.
And those places aren't using CVAPs, right? That's you're telling me?
Oh, no. I'm just saying from a business running standpoint, I think you open it all up, you sell everything, and then you're done.
But how do they hold that food?
Oh, I would imagine they have a CVAP or something like that. I'm not saying that the CVAP is bad. What I'm saying is business model wise, to me that makes the most sense because
why?
I'm gonna tell you why. Because you open up at lunch and you have a lunch rush. But then lunch tapers off, and it's not dinner time yet, and there's this weird like time, which is where this technology and Alto Sham is probably helping you with the hold. But there has to be something that a successful barbecue restaurant is doing to make sure that the quality of the food is as good at lunch or as it comes off the pits as it is at 8 o'clock at night. I mean, that's a big swing.
So barbecue is the food of necessity. I would put forth that it's America's first cuisine. And it was made because there was no refrigeration and there was crappy meats and people were poor and they had to make food, right? So it's interesting. So when you talk about necessity, that's what we're doing up here in New England. We're doing necessity. So the difference, one of the big differences is when you're in a place that maybe is less populated, perhaps the rents are $8 a square foot, $12 a square foot. In Boston, they're $55 a square foot. So paying rent 24 hours a day and only be open 6 hours a day doesn't make sense in a business model. And, I'm trying to serve the best barbecue I possibly can to as many people as I can to turn them on to what great barbecue is. Because let's face it, New England hasn't really been known for great barbecue.
I get it.
But so there's that part. So we can't, and look, these guys are unforgiving. You're not open, they're not coming back.
Yeah.
So
well, that's like anywhere else, though. Like I think Texas somehow is the only place that gets away with it.
Yeah, because it's old timey. That's cool. I get it. But like I don't know if Pecan Lodge does that. You might be talking about like Aaron Franklin. You know what I mean? Great. Aaron can do that. But so what we do is we have 2 fires on our brisket, 2 fires on our pork, 3 fires on our ribs, 4 fires on our chicken. So brisket gets fired at 8. It will come out at somewhere between 6, 7, and 8 in the morning. We will fire again. So they'll come out again at 7 or 8 that night. So we're trying to constantly just stay ahead. Ribs are 3-4 times a day, depending, first fire's at 6, then it can be at 12. So we're trying to constantly just guess the level of volume we're going to have.
Why do you have briskets coming off at 8 o'clock at night? Like you have demand for briskets?
Yeah, we're serving people till like 11 o'clock at night.
All right. Nice.
Yeah. This is a big city over here, buddy. So we got people out all the time.
I'm going off of Cleveland. Everything is Cleveland to me. That's a pretty big city. I don't know if you've ever been here, pal, but it's a pretty big city. We got a couple of sports teams, and that's about it.
Yeah. Ohio's got more cities I can name than any other state.
Cleveland.
It's got a lot of popular cities.
Columbus, Cincinnati. Yeah. Any more after
Daytona.
that? Where?
Daytona.
Daytona, yes. Daytona, Ohio, yes.
Yeah.
Maybe Dayton.
We got a couple more. Dayton, yeah.
Oh, we got plenty. Yeah. So
name Boston cities.
All right, ready?
Name Massachusetts cities.
Massachusetts?
Yeah, Massachusetts cities.
Yeah. Okay. Worcester, Worcester, Boston.
You need help?
What? No.
Someone help.
No. Manchester.
By the sea.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Yeah.
Is Harvard
Boston,
a city? I said
Cambridge.
Boston. Yeah. Cambridge. Yeah.
Cambridge.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah, I get it. So, all right. So we're cooking great barbecue. Now, it's not all about great barbecue because you have some, culinary chops behind you. I think, some barbecue guys don't have the culinary chops behind them. They just do what they want to do because they know they're going to sell it. But you like to add additional stuff. So how much, when you're planning the menu out for this, and this is the other issue I have with a lot of barbecue restaurants, they have a lot of shit up on the menu. And I don't know how much all of that stuff sells. So why not pare it down to what is going to be selling the best to give yourself, from a business standpoint, the best way to make money. So how do you go about planning your menu?
You ever heard the 80-20 rule?
Yes, I deal with it every day in sales. 20% of my customers do 80% of my business.
Right. So we sell 20% of our menu 80% of the time. So we try to really focus on that and figure out what's best about that and sell more items like that. But we also like to have fun, and I have awesome pit masters and chefs that work for me. So, we're trying new things and goofing around with stuff. So, and then seasonality, which is, fun to deal with. So when asparagus comes around, or corn or tomatoes. So we're constantly trying to move stuff in and out. But for us, again, similar to the book, the core is barbecue. So so we want people to come here like a steakhouse. You go to a steakhouse, you can get the cream spinach, you can get the roasted mushrooms, you can get the mashed potatoes. That's there.
Yep.
So same with us. We got beans. We got mac and cheese. We got collards. We got slaw. But then the other ancillary stuff is fun for us, and fun for our staff, our guests, because we get people that come, 2-3 times a week. They want new stuff.
What's like the most off the board menu item that you have?
What do you mean by off the board?
Well, like you walk in and you're like, oh, I wouldn't expect to find that item on this menu here.
Zucchini salad.
I like
that's
zucchini.
Probably the raw zucchini salad is probably one of the most ones. Let me think what else.
Do you do zoodles with those too?
No.
Those are cute.
Yeah, they're fun.
Nothing else off the board?
I don't know. It always changes. Right now, we're kind of in the middle of the Brussels sprouts are sick with the onion jam. Those are crazy. One of my favorite ones, which we run in the fall, is the mashed potatoes, but we make it with onions that are confit in brisket fat. It's freaking amazing. So we smoke the brisket, take the fat, take all the fat,
right.
Then make kind of an oil out of it, and then put the onions and cook them overnight in the smoker, and then take them and puree them and fold them into the potatoes. Phenomenal.
Wow, do you keep like tallow on hand? Do you make beef tallow at the restaurant?
Yes, but not a crazy amount. I mean, we go through 200,000 pounds of brisket this year. So,
wow. What are you running for brisket? Who do you use?
That's probably better not said.
What? Come on, man. Do you have like a stronghold on some producer?
It just took us a long time to get this.
You hear Aaron Franklin buys all the Creekstone briskets or whatever the hell he's affiliated. Like they sell all of his briskets to him. But so you have a similar relationship with somebody?
I don't think I buy all of somebody's, because I'm sure he buys more than he probably buys 500,000 pounds a year or something. No, just we like who we use, and we prefer that other people didn't try to get it.
All right.
So
what grade are you using?
Either high choice or prime, depends on what we're looking to do.
Do you get a better price? Let me ask you this. How do you price it out? Does the price then fluctuate if you get a high choice versus the prime? Will you fluctuate your brisket price that day?
Those prices, we won't fluctuate. No, we don't. We will fluctuate if it drastically goes high or drastically goes low. But when we look at a year, it's kind of going like this. So we kind of figure it out that it's kind of tries to average.
Does prime give you a better yield? Like, why wouldn't you just go full one way or full the other?
Just depends. Depends on. They're not always during the year.
Is the barbecue business secret? Is there something that I'm missing?
There's some stuff.
All right, fair enough. What about like pork and chicken and stuff? Is just whoever you're getting it from, or I mean, let me ask a better question. Is the purveyor really important? Like, do you go through and vet and say, I'm looking for X spec, and then you put people through the gauntlet to get the best product?
Yes, we don't buy commodity. So this is one of our challenges. People are like, it's so expensive. I'm like, because I don't buy commodity. Like, if you want to go, people are like, here's the most bizarre thing. I'm going to go on a rant for a second.
Yes,
people
please.
Are like, they want us to they're like, we want barbecue and we want it cheap. I'm like, you want to put cheap food in your body? That's what you want to do? I'm like, I have the number for this other barbecue place, and here it is. Because it just doesn't make sense. It's such a disconnect America has with food. Food costs money, meat costs money. Yes. That's the reality of it.
Right.
And we sell it as cheap as we can. Prairie Fresh is who we buy our ribs and our pork butts, and we love them. I couldn't be happier. That's Seaboard Prairie Fresh. Awesome. Geonone chickens. We try to, we're no hormones, no antibiotics, no goofiness, just solid, good meat.
Yeah. Is a margin on a barbecue restaurant tighter than it would have been at a Tremont 647?
That's about the same.
Same, yeah.
You
Like
know?
restaurant
Yeah.
businesses, it is what it is.
So our labor model's a little better, but our food cost is a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Meat is a little more expensive.
Yeah. You gotta
know,
pay for the
when you-
meat.
Yeah, it's not cheap, you know. I mean, it's just not. You know, and I think people have this romantic thought, you know, and they're like, and they think about these little ye old tiny barbecue places and how cheap it is, and that's nice. Go back to North Carolina and have that then.
Yeah,
You know,
and
it's
then
like
go back
that's-
20 years because I
Yeah.
have yet to, even the least expensive barbecue places, I still hear people complaining about the price.
I know.
And
It's so, you know, it's like Chipotle has like made people believe that food should be this big gnarly thing of cheapness, and it's gross.
Andy,
And then they want to know why they got sick.
oh my God. So you've transitioned nicely into a rant that I didn't think I was going to have. I don't do you remember a place called Chi-Chi's? It was like a big Mexican chain restaurant all over the country. And they had a case where it was like the lettuce was contaminated, E. coli, whatever the hell it was. One case, whole freaking chain, boom, out of business. Chi-Chi was gone. It's my wife's favorite Mexican restaurant, and all of a sudden it was wiped out. I have no goddamn idea how Chipotle can sit there. There's a Chipotle in the next town over from my place that has been shut down over the last 4 years 15 different times because they're not holding it right. People are getting sick. And oh, by the way, while they're shut down for a week, the line is forming for when that place opens again. I have never seen a place have so many health food violations and so many people get sick across the country, and it remains the most popular place to go. Why is that? I don't get it.
People believe it won't happen to them. What's interesting is when you think about cheap food, look, these places got to make money. So they're cutting somewhere. Somewhere in the supply line, there's some cuts happening. And it's either on training, on management, on delivery, on farming. Somewhere they're cutting to do that. And what do you think? If you cut the supply chain, something's going to happen. And then people get sick.
Wow,
I don't know how they survive. I don't know how anybody survives that stuff. We live in fear. So back to your question about meats, we have rules with our meat, and our purveyors know it, and they cannot give us anything but exactly what we ask for.
That's a good idea. That's the way we do business. That's why you should go to the smoke shop and eat great barbecue over there. Almost 5 different locations. Also, that's why you want to go out and buy this great book, which is called The Smoke Shop's Backyard Barbecue. All reputable and perhaps some unreputable book purveyors will have it right now. You can go to Amazon.com and check it out. Go to AndyHusbands.com and check him out too and get the history, see what he's up to. Do you have social media handles and stuff that you're active on? Or not?
Hit me up on Instagram at AndyHusbands, Twitter, Facebook. I think I'm full on friends on Facebook. Sorry, guys. You can follow me though.
You have do you have a fan page? Because you get unlimited likes for fan page.
No, maybe one day.
All right.
I don't know.
Any thoughts on the Corona while I got you?
The beer?
Yeah. You like Corona?
With a lime? Sure.
You drink it with a lime? I think that's so whack. You think it really? I mean, I just.
I don't really drink it. I don't really drink it. If you're talking about the coronavirus, if that's what you're really asking about, I just hope everybody's safe and taking care of themselves, washing their hands. We'll get through this.
All right. AndyHusbands.com. Check him out on social media. Get the book, The Smoke Shop's Backyard Barbecue. Andy, it has been great catching up with you. I appreciate you taking me to task on things because people rarely do that. And let's do it again sooner than later.
Definitely. Come by. Come visit.
All right. We will. There he is, Andy Husbands. By the way, there's a 0% chance that I will be going to Boston. We know that, right? You bet I'll be there. I want to go. I do. I would love to go. I would really like to go. I really want to say that I'm going to go. I want to mean it when I say that I'm going to go. But in the meantime, we know I'm not going to go. Damn it. It's a great book, by the way. Him and his, what is he? The day-to-day culinary operations guy over at the smoke shop, William Salazar. So I have a copy of this book for you to win as well. So first one in with an email on the subject line that says Andy Husbands Hell's Kitchen. Go ahead and shoot in while we line up to head out. Dude, I like it, man. Andy was hot tonight. He was taking me to task on CVAP, Alto Sham. I think he thought I was questioning the USA. I was not. I like it. Taking me to task on cities in Boston or Massachusetts. I don't care about any other state but my state. But I know where all the states are on the map in most of the capital cities. So if you want a copy of the book, hit me up. Greg at thebbqcentralshow.com. The subject line, Andy Husband's Hell's Kitchen. And do it now. We'll see if we get a winner here while we get ready to wrap it up. Stick around. Be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Greg Rempe.
All right, welcome back, and I'm telling you, you want to sign up for the Smoke Sheet. That's right. It's a weekly newsletter happening every week, covering top news in the barbecue world, events, recipes, and more, started by Ryan Cooper and Sean Ludwig. You can sign up for the newsletter at bbqnewsletter.com. And it's going to be great. A great all-in-one resource. Sean Ludwig, by the way, self-quarantining.
How dare you?
Yikes. Sean, hope you're all right. Bad luck all around for the dudes at the Smoke Sheet. Ryan Cooper battling cancer, and Sean Ludwig self-quarantining from coronavirus. I think he was in Italy. Man, oh man. Good luck to both of you guys, for crying out loud. What are you doing? You want to come back on the show? Fine, just ask. Come back on the show. By the way, we do have a winner, and your winner is Jason Wallace. That's right. Jason Wallace winning. Wow, we're so excited that Jason played the book game. He's won himself a copy of the Smoke Shop's Backyard Barbecue book, again, for sale. And all reputable book companies and Amazon.com. I'm not saying that Amazon isn't reputable. I'm just also mentioning it because everybody can get everything. Except you can't get masks or Purell at Amazon or any freaking store, no matter what right now. So, Jason Wallace, you win. Now, I will contact you through your winning email. We'll get your shipping address. You also have to tell me if you would like me to autograph Andy's book to send to you. That's a thing that we do on the show. I get an extra copy of a book, and I give you the opportunity of me autographing someone else's book. It's not my book. I think I stated clearly there's no way in hell I'd ever write a book, let alone read a book. But I will be more than happy to autograph a book, my autograph, on somebody else's book to send to you so you have it. For everybody here at the book game, this is your host, Greg Rempe, saying adieu. That's right. This is where we clap like mad. Ready? Here we go. Man, how do they clap like that? That's crazy. Unbelievable. All right, let's go ahead and get the hell out of here, why don't we, before something crazy happens. All the way back in the first hour, we talked with Meathead. AmazingRibs.com is his website. You can go get the brisket, corned beef, and pastrami sandwich recipes if you want for St. Patrick's Day coming up in a week. We also, in the second hour, talked with Andy Husbands all the way through that second hour. AndyHusbands.com is his website. SmokeShopBBQ.com is the barbecue restaurant's website. We'll have 5 locations across the greater Boston area. So congratulations to him. As Backyard Barbecue Show is adeptly pointing out, we're all hoping that Smokey is okay. I don't have any word, so we'll see. Don't forget, Barbecue Central show American Idol will debut in 2 weeks' time as we try out the Thin Lizzy song Jailbreak. Myself, John Solberg, Doug Scheiding, and Reiser will be singing for the fame and adulation of others. Big show planned for you next week. We got Robin Lindars, we got Stephen Reichlin, we got Bob Trudnak, and a host of others. September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern, this is your program host, proud U.S. American Greg Rempe. Good night now.
Hi, this is Jeff Richards, Columbus, Ohio. You're listening to Barbecue Central.